Hi there, everyone. Here's some of us heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. Going to check in with local crews as they are working overtime during this wintry weather. Plus, an update from Joplin health officials, a sharper uptick in the number of COVID-19 cases. Also in Joplin, a more in-depth resources available for looking at those positive COVID-19 cases.
Officials estimate that voter turnout could be higher this year than any recent presidential election. I'm Zach Dodge with a look at the numbers.
Hey, Kelly's weather tonight. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. Much of the four states dealing with cold, wet weather. Nick Kelly joins us now with our first look at weather. Nick?
We has dealt with quite an interesting day, Jordan. Highs near 42, but that was at the midnight hour. Then we spent the rest of the day just seeing the mercury drop. So far, the coldest at 32. This system that we saw work in today at least brought us an inch of rain at Joplin, but it's bringing in the wintry side of things a little earlier than expected. Winter weather advisories for most of us until noon tomorrow. Northeast Oklahoma, that's until 7. At least we're not dealing with any of the ice storm warnings that are in effect across central and western parts of Oklahoma. Wave number 1 pushing out, but we'll be left behind with some light drizzle and freezing drizzle tonight. And then wave number 2 getting sat together out in New Mexico. That's going to start working in for tomorrow, giving us one last chance for some freezing rain and rain before we start to improve things. We'll break down what to expect over the next few days here in a bit, Jordan.
All right, Nick, thank you. Canada's Department of Transportation is getting ready to treat the roads if they become icy. KDOT uses a brine to help de-ice the roads, but if rain is expected, they will use rock salt since it lasts longer. That's if things get worse. Then once the rain is done, they will lay down even more salt. Officials say they are prepared for when things do become dangerous.
We're usually, when we know something's coming, we'll come out and we'll go ahead and put down some rock salt, which lasts a little bit longer.
Now, Nelson says one way to tell if a road is icy is if the road looks wet, but cars in front of you are not splashing water from their tires. Crews in Missouri are already treating some roads. MoDOT's biggest piece of advice during icy conditions: stay off the roads if you can. Officials say if you do have to travel, make sure to check road conditions ahead of time and give yourself plenty of time.
Because this is the first storm, really, one of the first storms of the season. And if we have ice, you could be black ice. It could be any kind like that where you just don't see it until you're on it. If it's raining and they're calling for freezing rain, which they are in a lot of locations in the northern areas, you need to slow down, just take it real easy.
It's also recommended to make sure your car is ready for those cold temperatures by checking your antifreeze levels, batteries, tires, and also brakes. Well, the U.S. Senate tonight confirmed Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. So in tonight's KOM News Now Instant Poll, we're asking, how do you feel about the Senate confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett? Are you angry, excited, or are you just waiting to see how she rules on the court? You can vote at our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on your mobile devices. The results update instantly on our broadcasts. We're going to check back in the results periodically during tonight's show, and we'll have more on Judge Barrett's confirmation here shortly. A Joplin man is sentenced for burglary. Authorities say 39-year-old Jericho Jones was caught by the Newton County Sheriff's Office burglarizing a home. Jericho Jones is sentenced to 10 years in prison. The Missouri State Highway Patrol Troop D is reporting its 6th boating fatality this year. They say the victim was an Arma, Kansas man, Chad Boswell. The Highway Patrol says Boswell was on a boat in the Osage River that hit an object in the water. The boat filled with water, then flipped. Boswell drowned. The other 3 people in the boat, including a 5-year-old girl, survived. Cheney, Kansas police say a man was showing off a gun that he later used to shoot into a business. This shots fired incident happened early on Friday. Police say the suspect was showing off a gun that he had tucked inside his waistband at a business on South Santa Fe. Authorities say he was asked to leave, came back later and fired at the business. No one was shot. Police arrested the suspect, but no formal charges have been filed. The Joplin Health Department is reporting the city's 35th COVID-19 related death. Officials say the person was a 98-year-old woman who was a resident at a long-term care facility. The McDonald County Health Department is reporting that county's 14th death. Officials say it was a person in their early 70s who had been hospitalized. Joplin City officials say there's been a 55% increase in COVID-19 cases in the city over the last 7 days. City leaders provided those numbers at today's daily briefing. They also talked safe partying on Halloween and why you might want to take part in the festivities outdoors.
Try to encourage outside parties if we can. As I said earlier, the weather is going to be great, so outside is definitely a less risky environment than an indoor space.
There are 156 active cases of COVID-19 in the city of Joplin right now. City of Joplin's COVID-19 dashboard itself now provides users with a more in-depth look at those COVID-19 cases. The city partnered with the University of Missouri's All Things Missouri project for the dashboard's new look, as we're seeing. It now provides new information, including an average of cases per day over a 7-day time frame and new graphs, as you see right there. Public health experts across the nation say we are seeing a dangerous acceleration of new coronavirus cases. More than 83,000 new cases were reported nationwide Friday, a new record. That number was nearly matched on Saturday before falling to more than 60,000 Sunday, when fewer cases are normally reported. As schools reopen, doctors are seeing an uptick in the number of children infected with COVID-19. The latest tally in the journal Pediatrics found in the first 2 weeks of October, there were more than 84,000 new cases reported among kids, a 13% increase. Last call for mail-in absentee voting in several local states. Kansas requires you to apply for a mail-in ballot 7 days before the election, or in this case, October 27th. That's tomorrow. Oklahomans also have until October 27th to request a mail-in ballot. Same goes for Arkansas. However, the deadline to request a mail-in ballot in Missouri already passed. That deadline was October 21st. CDC is recommending people to be cautious while they're doing that voting. They're encouraging people to consider voting options, including voting by mail. If you are voting in person on Election Day, bring your mask and use social distancing, of course. Also bring your own pen to do some notes, some markings, tissues, and have that hand sanitizer ready. Local election officials say we could have the highest voter turnout of any recent presidential election. KOM's Zach Dodge has a breakdown of all these numbers.
We're a week away from the election, and thousands of voters have already cast their ballots in southeast Kansas and right here in southwest Missouri. Let's first take a look at Jasper County, where absentee voting is currently happening. Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis says, as of this afternoon, more than 4,400 people have voted absentee in person. They've also received more than 3,400 mail-in ballots. He expects the overall turnout to exceed 2016, when a little over 48,000 residents voted. And over in Crawford County, they've seen a lot of mail-in ballots, and around 5,000 people have taken part in early voting so far. So he thinks if turnout on Election Day is close to what it was in 2016, turnout there could also exceed the last presidential election. Both Davis and Pyle have hired more staff at their offices to process mail-in and early ballots. Reporting in Carthage, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Zach, thank you. You can find out how to vote early on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Keith Coates served in the U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force from 1945 to 46. Native of Fredonia, Kansas, Coates won the World War II Victory Medal. We are proud to thank Corporal Keith Coates, tonight's 4 state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, Webb City and Carl Junction aiming to make the volleyball district championship game. We're going to have semifinal highlights in sports.
As advertised, our next storm system rolled in today, and we saw it turn our skies plenty cloudy and definitely rainy from Indigo Skies perspective, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But that was where temperatures were warm enough to support mainly rain throughout the day, but there's still some more wintry weather to go, especially the areas that saw plenty of it today, especially in our northwestern counties. Winter weather advisories until noon for southeast Kansas, most of southwest Missouri, but for northeast Oklahoma, that's until 7 o'clock Tuesday evening. we have gotten past the first main wave of moisture. It's continuing to push out of southwestern parts of Missouri. Still some light rain, maybe a little bit of light freezing rain trying to mix in. Everyone else just seeing light drizzle, maybe a few flurries, and a little bit of freezing drizzle as well. All on the backside of our first major wave of moisture that brought us plenty of rain today. But I'll tell you, at least we're not dealing with the mess that's out in central and western parts of Oklahoma. Our affiliate out in Oklahoma City suggesting the roads are already bad in central and western parts of Oklahoma, and already over 100,000 reported power outages, and they still have more treacherous ice to go. Well, if there's any good signs to this wave, this first wave of rain, it brought us some rain that we need. 0.8 of an inch on average, with some of us pushing 1 to 2 inches. The latest check of things in Joplin has us sitting at 32. I think we're going to hold there for the rest of the night, but the humidity still pretty high at 92%. Everyone else cold from 29 in the 8th Center and Iola to about the lower to middle 30s, especially as you work in the southwestern parts of Missouri. We're not done with the system just yet, even though it looks quiet out in central and western Oklahoma. They're getting freezing drizzle out there. Wave number 2 is getting its act together now out in New Mexico. Not seeing the main storm system on the surface map, although showing plenty of cold air in place. It's the upper levels that shows where this beast is, right over Utah. And as long as this takes its sweet time working east, we're going to have to put up with the system for a few more days. But at least our chances for wintry weather starts to wind on down once we get into tomorrow. But for tonight, light drizzle, light rain, freezing drizzle, maybe a little bit of sleet for some before that next main wave of moisture comes out of New Mexico and works in here by tomorrow morning. It will start with rain and freezing rain in our northwestern areas, rain for everyone else. But as temperatures warm throughout the course of the day, we'll switch over to mainly rain. So our wintry weather chances, thankfully, will come to an end starting tomorrow afternoon. 32 in the morning, 35 by lunchtime, and at least back above freezing, but still cold with temperatures right around 38 degrees. In terms of additional ice to expect with this hopefully final wave of wintry weather, not seeing impressive ice amounts, maybe an additional 1/10 to 1/1500th of an inch for areas mainly north and west of Joplin. And if any of this tries to result in more snow, maybe 1/2 inch or less for Chanute, Neodesha, Uniontown, points north and west from there. Quick glimpse of the 7-day before I toss it back over to you, Jordan. Let's go 51 with still some rain around with the storm system working through. 49 and dropping, but the rain clears out Thursday evening. Drying out for the weekend, 56 on Friday, looking good, and 61 for Halloween.
Not much ice is a good thing, of course. I'm thankful
compared
for
to
that.
central Oklahoma, they're getting hammered, but at least it's dodging us.
You mentioned Oklahoma. Oklahoma was getting hit with severe weather earlier today. In Oklahoma City, it was heavy rain. Look at all that flooding. Further north and to the west, it was freezing rain. Freezing rain will make its way into Oklahoma City by tomorrow morning, forecasters say. A winter storm watch is in effect there beginning tonight through Wednesday. So heads up just in case if you're traveling to that area. Coming up, the U.S. Supreme Court has a new member.
Senate Republicans have just voted to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with a closer look at the Democrats' final arguments coming up.
A victory for Republicans tonight and a big win for the president 8 days out from the election as he adds another justice to the Supreme Court. In a narrow vote, the Senate confirmed Amy Coney Barrett's nomination. Democrats remain critical of the decision and voiced their outrage on the floor. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more from outside the Supreme Court.
I, Amy Coney Barrett, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Amy Coney Barrett took her first of 2 oaths at the White House, one Monday night, the other on Tuesday with Chief Justice Roberts. She will become the 115th Supreme Court Justice.
This is a momentous day for America, for the United States Constitution, and for the fair and impartial rule of law.
Her confirmation passed by a slim majority. The Supreme Court now has 9 justices again, 6 conservative and 3 liberal.
The yeas are 52, the nays are 48.
In protest of how close to the election the process was held, not a single Democrat voted for her, and one Republican Senator, Susan Collins of Maine, voted against her.
This nomination is part of a decades-long effort to tilt the judiciary to the far right, to accomplish through the courts what the radical right and their allies, Senate Republicans, could never accomplish through Congress.
Republicans say the criticism of the new to-be justice is not fair and that a Justice Barrett would have had bipartisan support if the vote had happened at another time.
This is about Judge Barrett. This is about her time, her moment. She's going onto the court because that's where she deserves to be.
After her swearing in, Justice Barrett's work will begin almost immediately. She has a meeting on Friday and oral arguments begin next week. At the Supreme Court, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Again, in tonight's KOM News Now Insta Poll, we are asking you, how do you feel about the Senate confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett? Are you angry, excited, or are you just waiting to see how she rules on the court? You can vote at komnewsnow.com/vote or go ahead and vote on your mobile device. Here are some results so far. The majority of you say, yeah, I'm excited. Again, you can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or on your mobile device. Just ahead, final preparations for next week's election.
Just 8 days remain until Election Day. I'm Ray Bogan with how the candidates are spending their final days on the campaign trail coming up.
It's the final full week before the 2020 election. With only 8 days remaining, the president was back on the campaign trail, while his Democratic counterpart plans to head to more battleground states tomorrow. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has the latest on race for the White House.
President Trump is starting the week with 3 rallies in Pennsylvania. Polls show he's down 5 points in the battleground state. The president focused on the Keystone State's energy industry and attacked Joe Biden.
He's going to ban fracking and deliver an economic death sentence for Pennsylvania and for many other places.
Vice President Pence is in another battleground, Minnesota, where the Real Clear Politics average shows Biden is up by 6 points.
Here in the Iron Range, you said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know that Minnesota is going to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump in 2020.
Neither Biden nor his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, are holding rallies today, though Biden visited a Pennsylvania voter activation center.
Just want to make sure we can earn every vote possible. That's why we're here.
Tomorrow, Biden will be in Georgia and Harris will be in Nevada.
There's not been a day that hadn't been a 12-hour day yet.
Harris made multiple stops in Michigan Sunday, where she promised voters better health care.
We need to protect people with pre-existing conditions. We need to bring down the age of eligibility for Medicare to age 60.
Voters around the country are coming out in record numbers. More than 61 million people have already cast their ballots. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
A first for Guinness in its more than 250-year history. More on this when we come back. Still time to vote on tonight's KOM News Now Insta Poll. The question, how do you feel about the Senate confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett? Are you angry, excited, or just waiting to see how she rules on the court? Remember, you can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or by using our app on your mobile phone. We're going to have another look at the results so far in a few minutes. For the first time in more than 250 years, Guinness is introducing a non-alcoholic stout. The company's 0.0 beer went on sale in the UK and Ireland today. Each standard of the new beer has 70 calories, as opposed to the alcoholic Guinness, which has 154 calories. 0.0 goes through a similar production process as Guinness's original stout and features water, barley, hops, and yeast. For Guinness fans here in the United States, though, and if you want to take part in this, you're going to have to wait until 2021 for the American release. At first, I was against this, but as you think about it, some people don't want alcohol in their life anymore, and more power to them. Alcohol has seriously led them down a wrong path in life. They want to get rid of alcohol, still enjoy Guinness. There you go. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to see a whole new level of uniqueness this Halloween, staying safe in 2020, but also making things fun. Also, concerns that young influencers are promoting unhealthy junk foods on YouTube. A new study shows working remotely is here to stay. Better get used to it if not already.
More than 58 million Americans have already cast their ballots, and there's just over a week to go before the election. I'm Eric Shawn in New York, and I'll have that story coming up.
As Halloween is quickly approaching, trick-or-treating may look a little different for some people. One Miami, Oklahoma resident is making sure she can hand out candy in the safest way possible. KOAM's Caitlin Shive has more.
Trick-or-treating is all about the candy, but with new CDC recommendations due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many people are finding more creative ways to distribute it, like Miami resident Angel Riggs Austin.
We want to still have fun with Halloween and be safe, so we decided let's get that candy out there however we can.
She and her family decided to create a candy chute to ensure social distancing.
My daughter likes to hand out the candy, so you kind of have to throw it through to get the momentum. So she'll be throwing it through and hopefully we'll have some trick-or-treaters.
Something she's hoping will be fun for the trick-or-treaters and will help reduce the chance of spreading the COVID-19 virus.
I really don't want anyone else to get it if possible, so that's our big main factor there.
The Miami Police Department are expecting to see an increase in trick-or-treaters this year.
And normally our chamber-sponsored event, the Sweet Streets event, it would have 3,000 kids right there on Main Street, and a lot of games, a lot of vendors come out and they play games, have different candy stops, and it was just a huge event for the city. And without that, kids will still want to celebrate Halloween, and I think we're going to see more kids out and about on the streets.
And are advising parents to keep an eye out and to have a safe Halloween.
We just try to be as social distancing conscious as possible. And I know I've seen several people that have created shoots or doing different things to try to social distance and to wear gloves. And we encourage parents to take hand sanitizer with them so they can sanitize between houses or periodically through the evening.
In Miami, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
The Miami Police Department is also asking for caution when it comes to wearing cloth masks under Halloween masks, as this could make it difficult to breathe. U.S. Cellular donated $8,000 to the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri. Kids will have more hands-on experiences. Money will be used for computers, graphic design software, also a t-shirt press. Young influencers are promoting unhealthy junk foods on YouTube, promoting calls for stronger regulations. Researchers at NYU say food companies are paying millions of dollars to social media stars as young as 8 to promote their products. Among last year's most popular videos, the ones featuring junk foods were viewed more than 1 billion times. Delta Airlines making it clear to some of its passengers, if you don't comply, you're not going to fly. And adding a large group to a no-fly list. The world's second largest air carrier says it has 460 names on a list of passengers prohibited to fly for refusing to wear those face masks. The airline first began requiring masks on flights back in April. In a letter to staff, CEO Ed Bastian says wearing a mask is a, quote, among the simplest and most effective actions we can take to reduce transmission. Health officials have highlighted travel as one way the virus can easily spread because of the number of people in small spaces. In addition to requiring face coverings, Delta is also keeping middle seats open on all of its flights to ensure social distancing, a little bit of it anyway, between passengers. Remote work is here to stay. According to a new study from Enterprise Technology Research, the percentage of people permanently working from home is expected to double next year, 2021. Before the coronavirus outbreak, a little over 16% of people worked from home, but it's expected to rise to more than 34% next year, and among the companies surveyed, about 72% of their workforce is currently working remotely. Facebook is bracing for unrest online after the presidential election, and it wants to stem potential fallout. According to the Wall Street Journal, Facebook is prepared to deploy tools, if needed, to limit the spread of popular content on its platform that could incite violence or spread misinformation. With just more than 1 week remaining until Election Day, more than 61 million voters have already cast their ballots, as we've been hearing about in previous stories, and that number is only expected to rise. Fox News senior correspondent Eric Shawn has more from New York City.
Voters across the country heading to the polls in record numbers. More than 58 million Americans have already cast their ballots. That's more than mail-in and early in-person voting during the whole 2016 election.
I'm just so happy to see this many people out here.
Voter enthusiasm driving many people to the polls early, while some who have had their doubts about mail-in ballots want to be sure they vote in person.
I'm not
negative on the mail-in, but I just think that the in-person is safer.
Others are hoping to avoid large crowds on Election Day because of the coronavirus pandemic. New York State, hit hard by COVID-19, is offering early voting for the first time for a presidential election.
I think I'd rather get it done, get it in, feel good about it, do my civic duty, and be ready for when it happens.
Over the weekend, many in New York City were met with long lines at polling sites.
The greatest election of a lifetime. I'm almost 70 years old, and I've never seen something like this.
Meanwhile, in Boston, police arrested a man accused of setting fire to a ballot box, damaging 35 of the 122 ballots inside. That follows a similar incident in Los Angeles, where a ballot box was torched just over a week ago. No suspect there has been arrested. A nice surprise for some election officials in Virginia. They say they found thank you notes in the ballot boxes from grateful voters. In New York, Eric Shawn, Fox News.
All right, in tonight's KOM News Now Instant Poll question, we asked you, how do you feel about the Senate confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett? Are you angry, excited, or are you just waiting to see how she's going to rule on the court? Here are the results. No real change in the standings since we last checked in. The majority of you say, I'm excited, followed by those of you who say, I'm angry. If you haven't voted, there is still time. You can vote at our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on your mobile devices. The final results will be shown on our sister station, KOM News at 10. A bit later, trying to prevent wildfires from getting even worse.
Officials in California cutting power and taking extraordinary steps to prevent new fires during an already historic wildfire season. I'm Claudia Cowan in the Oakland Hills. I'll have the story just ahead.
With one wave of the storm system through, we're not done just yet, so we're just going to dive right in to break down how things look today. With the wet look from Indigo Sky, warm enough there to support rain just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But for everybody else, winter weather advisories continue for southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri until noon tomorrow. In northeast Oklahoma, that's until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, with ice storm warnings blanketing and pounding central and western parts of Oklahoma. Around the radar network, though, just anything on the Kansas and the northern parts of our Missouri counties. That's mainly light drizzle, maybe some light freezing drizzle to take us through the overnight. Still some light rain, though, once you go south of I-44 near Grand Lake and into southern parts of Missouri. All on the backside of our first wave of moisture that rolled on through today. If there's anything good from the system so far, if you don't like the wintry weather, look at how much rain it gave us just today alone, an average of just under an inch, but areas along south of I-44 easily seeing rain amounts estimated at between 1 to 2 inches. So rain that we need, rain that we'll definitely take. But it's cold and dropping to 32 with the north breeze at 8, makes it feel like 25. But with the moisture in place, we're not going to see temperatures budge a lot more from where we are right now. From the upper 20s around Iola to about the lower 30s elsewhere. We're definitely on the cooler side of the freezing line. But thankfully, again, I don't see temperatures cooling off much more from where we are, if at all, throughout the course of the night. So again, one wave of moisture is rotating out. Next wave developing across New Mexico. That's going to bring more ice to western and central Oklahoma first before it heads our way by sunrise tomorrow morning. All because of colder air in place, mainly driven by high pressure at the surface and at the jet stream level, the main system itself sitting on top of Utah still. Eventually this is going to kick out, but it's going to do that in the course of a few more days. So that slow progress means more of the same for tomorrow, at least in terms of cloud cover and temperature staying cold through the overnight, supporting a drizzle, light freezing drizzle, and some light pockets of sleet in a few spots. But then here's 7 a.m. That next big wave working through central and western Oklahoma starts working in here, starting with a mix of rain and freezing rain. Then as temperatures warm back up above freezing after the lunch shower, we're going to see anything else as far as precip goes switch over to mainly rain, thankfully. 32 in the morning, 35 by noon, afternoon highs right around 38 degrees. Anything we get in terms of ice will be maybe an additional 1/10 to about 1/1500ths of an inch of ice. But we still have to deal with the backside of the system, which will continue through Wednesday and Thursday before it clears out by the time we head toward late Thursday night and certainly by Friday morning. And as far as additional rain totals go, I think we're all fair game to pick up another 1 to 3 inches at the very least. And of course, it all depends if we can get some heavier pockets of rain to work in as well. That could boost those totals up a little more. 51 on Wednesday once we get past our cold Tuesday. 49 and dropping and staying in the 40s on Thursday. But we're dry for the weekend and early next week, Jordan, and not to mention back near 60 on Halloween.
Yeah, weekend looks pretty good.
Yeah.
For fall. All right, Nick Kelly, thank you. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store, also the Google Play Store. All you have to do, search for the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up in sports, it's semifinal night at the Class 4 District 11 volleyball tournament in Webb City, plus Performance of the Week honors for Columbus senior Gabe Martin. Sports Director Jacob Leonard has details next.
Tonight is semifinal night at the Class 4 District 11 volleyball tournament in Webb City. The Carl Junction Bulldogs are the #1 seed in the bracket after going 22-6 in the regular season. CJ on the floor tonight against Nevada, trying to move on to the district championship. The first set, Jillian Kennedy going to work early, right side for the kill, and Kennedy again, too hot to handle. Salma Lewis, you already know she's good, powerful down the middle there. Carl Junction takes the first set 25-17. They kept rolling in the second. Lewis again down the middle. Then it's Jessa Hilton doing the same thing. 25-16 CJ in the second. Now Nevada tries to keep this thing going in the third. Jade Feller sneaks it over. Tigers actually up 17-11 there. But Lewis and the Bulldogs not having it tonight. Lewis another kill. Carl Junction rallies to take the third. 25-22. Bulldogs headed back to the district championship.
That's what we strive for every year, is to put ourselves in a position to win our district championship, and the kids did what they needed to do tonight to make that happen.
We definitely had to work a little bit harder in that third set. I think we kind of got that too confident mentality, and you can't look past anyone in the district, so we just had to step up our game a little bit.
On the other side, defending district champion Webb City up against Bolivar. In the first set, Kirsten Gallardo goes cross court for the kill, but Bolivar really good early. Liberators would actually win the first set 25-21. Don't worry though, Webb City got going. That's Abigail Stork on the far side. Little velocity on that one. Cardinals get the second set 25-21. Third set, Hannah Hedinger, big block for Webb City. Then we're going back to Abigail Stork. Cardinals get the third set and the fourth. Webb City moves on to face Carl Junction in the district championship Wednesday night. Well, we asked on Friday in our KOAM News Now Insta poll, and you voted. With 69% of the votes, Columbus running back Gabe Martin is this week's Performance of the Week after scoring 6 touchdowns Friday against Caney Valley. On the year, Martin has rushed for nearly 1,200 yards and has scored 16 total touchdowns. He and the Titans earned a district championship with their win over Caney Valley Friday night, and also finished off a perfect regular season with an 8-0 record. Now, that's obviously good, but now Martin and Columbus turn their attention to the playoffs this week.
It means a lot. Playoffs is a great atmosphere, just great to be out there against a good team every week. So going out there and having fun, doing something special. I think we get a lot more dangerous when we're able to run like we did against Caney.
Columbus will open up the playoffs on Friday night at home against the Girard Trojans. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
A fast-moving wildfire forcing tens of thousands in Southern California to evacuate. This blaze sparked this morning in Orange County despite officials' efforts to try and prevent new wildfires in the state as the unprecedented fire season continues. Fox News senior correspondent Claudia Cohen is in Oakland, California with more on the steps being taken to curb these flames.
As destructive and deadly wildfires burn across the western part of the country, fears of new fires sparked by hurricane-force winds is a real concern.
This is a very serious concern. We would not be taking the unprecedented step of encouraging a pre-evacuation and raising alarm about this if we did not think that there was an extreme risk to our community.
Hundreds of thousands of customers across much of California still waiting for the power to come back on. But that could take a while because the state is still in the midst of what officials are calling the biggest wind event of the year. A dangerous combination of howling gusts, low humidity, and an abundance of dry vegetation, creating an extremely critical fire risk in a state already suffering its worst wildfire season ever, including many fires sparked by trees blowing into transmission lines and other power equipment. Tens of thousands in Southern California also without power, while crews work to put out several brush fires, including one in Orange County Monday morning that exploded in size and prompted mandatory evacuations. Meanwhile, firefighters battling the two largest fires in Colorado got some much-needed help from a winter blast of snow and colder temperatures.
This is a day that we all were very, very much hoping for and could not come soon enough.
Back here in Northern California, the winds are a little bit calmer now, but a red flag warning indicating extreme fire danger remains in effect throughout many parts of the state in some of the higher elevations until Tuesday afternoon. In the Oakland Hills, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
Plenty of entertainment coming your way this week on Fox 14. A look at the rundown when we come back. Fox's new fall show is kicking off this week. We have a preview of what's in store as we take a look at what's coming up on the lineup. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
From action to Halloween animation, here's what's hot on Fox.
Gabriel Knox has set up shop in Los Angeles.
Monday is all new Fox original programming. The night starts with the Gabrielle Union, Jessica Alba-led action series LA's Finest, and the past resurfacing for Sid when an old flame is back in the picture.
We can protect you if I have that tape.
That's followed by more drama for the extended family of Filthy Rich, with a blackmail scheme brewing, secrets unraveling, and a certain reappearance just in time for Mardi Gras. Tuesday is Cosmo's Possible Worlds, revisiting scientific discoveries while exploring a future of possibilities. Then it's Fox's AI Gone Wrong thriller next. Wednesday has back-to-back singing and guessing with The Masked Singer and I Can See Your Voice.
An electric NFC South showdown.
Fox Sports brings Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light, with the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. And the following night, WWE's Friday Night SmackDown.
You gotta be kidding me!
And Sunday, it's Halloween episodes on Animation Domination, including The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Most of that depending on the World Series, of course. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of some Joplin Halloween decorations, getting us in the spirit. Be safe. Ghostbusters. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.